Okay, Unit 9 Key Concept Review. I'm going to try and do all five in one short video. We'll see how this works out. First, one was what is policy of appeasement? Why do industrial nations give in to demands or not stop aggressive moves? Appeasement is giving in to the demands of aggressors in order to avoid war or conflict. The Western European democracies do this mainly because the horrors of World War I are fresh in their minds. Okay, 10 million young men lost their lives in World War I. The Western democracies do not want to see a repeat of that. Okay, so that's going to be the main reason for appeasement. Okay, the second one is how do we get involved with World War II? All right, we're going to start off neutral, right? We have strong isolationist tendencies at home, feelings at home. So we're going to start off neutrality, all right? And this is when, remember, World War II starts in 1939, Germany's invasion of Poland. All right, despite our isolationist feelings, despite our efforts to maintain neutrality, we're going to begin aiding Great Britain. We're going to start with cash and carry policy. We'll give them some war supplies. Then we'll trade some naval warships in return for military bases in the Caribbean, in Bermuda. All right. Soon after the fall of France, we'll give up that and move towards the Lend-Lease Act, which allows us to give, sell or lend equipment to those nations fighting the Axis powers. Okay. Franklin Roosevelt compares this to lending your neighbor a garden hose if his house is on fire. All right, that's in Europe. In Asia, the militaristic Japan invades and brutalizes both Manchuria and China, seeking military and economic domination over that area and looking for natural resources they don't have. We will react with an embargo. We'll pass an embargo on oil and steel, not trading with them, okay? As tensions rise, we'll be negotiating, trying to avoid war. They'll attack Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941. That brings us into the war. Roosevelt, again, a day that will live in infamy. Germany honors their pact with Japan and declares war on the United States, and we're in, okay? Number three is, how did the United States restrict the right of Japanese Americans? Okay, well, the thing about wartime fear and prejudice is going to adversely affect the civil rights of Japanese Americans on the West Coast. There's going to be strong anti-Japanese prejudice, and we're going to falsely believe that Japanese Americans were aiding the enemy, which will lead to internment of Japanese Americans during the war. This is the relocation of Japanese Americans to camps. All right, they're going to lose their homes, businesses, and properties. The Supreme Court will uphold this decision and the government's right to do this in Korematsu versus United States. Okay, eventually there'll be a public apology and there'll be some restitution, somewhere around 10 cents on the dollar. Okay. Which battles are considered turning points and why? We have El Alamein in North Africa. That's where the German forces will be defeated before they can seize Egypt and the Suez Canal, preventing Hitler from getting access to the Middle Eastern oil supplies. Stalingrad is in Eastern Europe. Hundreds of thousands of German soldiers are killed or captured. It will also prevent Germany from seizing the Soviet oil fields. Again, so no more oil for Germany. Normandy is the D-Day landings. American Allied troops under Eisenhower will land in France on June 6, 1944, and begin the liberation of Western Europe. Pacific will be the Battle of Midway, big naval carrier, naval battle. All right, only a few months after Pearl Harbor, it will ease the threat to Hawaii. The Japanese cannot invade Hawaii now, and will start the island hopping campaign, getting us closer and closer to Japan. All right, number five was, how did each of the following groups contribute to the war effort? Well, we have women entering previously male jobs, all right. We'll see African Americans trying to desegregate the military and also fighting discriminatory hiring practices. Remember Rosie the Riveter as a symbol of working women. We have African Americans in segregated units, right? The one I want you to remember is the Tuskegee Airmen. They'll serve in Europe with distinction. You have Nisei regiments, which are Japanese American regiments. They will be some of the most highly decorated soldiers in World War II. We have the communication codes of the Navajo, all right, the code talkers, with their unbreakable oral language, not written language, so unbreakable code. We have Mexican Americans who fight in non-segregated units, but we also should at some point mention the Bracero system for workers and farmers, all right? So again, women work in the workforce and as auxiliaries in the military, the WACs, the Waves, Rosie the Riveter, remember, and African Americans in